Welcome back, Shop Rats. It's a Talk About It Tuesday. Wasn't my plan for the day, but stuff happens. I plan to be putting the roof bow in the Stitches Challenger today, but the phone keeps ringing and I keep having one cry. Anyway, it's my life, blah, blah, blah. Whine, whine, whine. Stuff happens. But I do have a subject that's near and dear to my heart that I just faced this morning, and I want to share it with you, so don't go away. I'm Mike.
This is My Cars Shop.
I had a bunch of errands to run this morning, and it's been a day full of one crisis after another in various places, not just my business. But everything's fine. It's just, dealing with stuff. 2024 isn't exactly starting out to be ducky. Maybe everybody's quacking up. I don't know. Anywho, I stopped by my jobber today, my local auto supply, and I picked up the 3M structural adhesive kit that we're going to use to glue the roof bow here in on the Challenger, which is what I was planning to do today. And I also picked up a urethane sealer adhesive that'll go along with that. That'll be coming really soon, maybe even tomorrow, since I'm stranded right now without wheels. But today, so I stopped by my local jobber to find out about the dash cap that I ordered for the Challenger, and well, not their fault at all. But there's a story, and it kind of lines up with something I had written in my notes about a subject we should talk about, and that is, what are we going to do when the parts that we want to restore these popular muscle cars aren't available? I'm probably the voice of one crying in the wilderness with this, but I think if we're paying attention, especially over what's happened in the last few years, we're starting to see unavailability of parts. I mean, let's face it, AAR Fiberglass, who's been around for a long time, they are the company that made the fiberglass hood that I have on my GTS. Mine was actually the very first one out of the mold back in around 2000 something. They went out of business this last year. Now, I've heard rumors that somebody else is going to be buying the molds and firing that product line back up. But right now, that product is not available. I've seen AMD discontinuing certain parts for some of these cars, and Sherman Parts is whatever their name is, Meyer now, I think it is, who owns them. They're not making some things, and it's getting harder to get some things. I know when we ordered the quarter panel, the two quarter panels for this car, one of them came pretty quickly within a couple weeks. I was foolish and I didn't order the one for the passenger side right then because of finances. I was just trying to be frugal. When I did finally order it, I ordered it in September of 2022. No, September of 21. I didn't get it for a year and a half. It came sometime in mid to late 22. So I've had it for quite a while. Don't quote me on the exact, but it was 18 months to get that. It was sent over from over the ocean by Sea Turtle and then got here and was carried from the coast to our area here in Michigan by Land Tortoise, I guess. I think we all have come to realize that in the last few years we've had supply chain issues and raw material issues and trucking issues and all kinds of issues. But I think a bigger picture issue that not many people are talking about is the fact that the number of people who have the resources to pour money into these projects is diminishing. Now, that's not a popular thing to say, and I know that I'm the voice of one crying in the wilderness, and I still know it is a multi-million, probably a multi-billion dollar industry to restore classic cars and classic muscle cars. But I don't see that continuing. And of course, any business that has any business sense is going to stop offering products that are not profitable, that they're not selling, or the price on the things that they do have is going to go way up because of shortages and because of the fact that less people are buying them. So it's more expensive to make them because they're not getting their volume discounts. It was proven to me again this morning. I do buy as much as I possibly can locally within reason, as long as the price is within 20% of what I can buy online. And usually the bigger that number gets, the smaller that percentage becomes, because 20% of $1,000 is a lot more money than 20% of $100, if you get what I'm saying. But I had ordered the dash cap for this car back in September, around September 15th. And I was told that it would be in by November 15th. And October 15th. He told me, but he did tell me the end of October was more realistic. October comes and goes, no dash cap. November comes and goes, no dash cap. December comes and goes, no dash cap. So today I went in there and he said, let me call and find out what's going on. I haven't heard anything on it, which is very normal, very normal. I don't usually worry about it, but I like to touch base. Got into the system and found out that the warehouse still had his order open, but they canceled their order from the vendor. What? Now, I know there are other places that I could order a dash cap. It's not that big a deal, but I get better pricing locally than anywhere online for stuff like that. So, of course, I'm going to order it locally. Plus, I'm going to order it locally to support my local businesses. Another factor in that, as a small business owner, I can say this. It's one of the promises I make to my customers. If you have an issue and you buy from me, I'm the one who deals with the suppliers. You don't have to. And so all of that is the reason. And I've done business with this local chain here for close to 40 years. So we have a long-standing relationship. They know me. I know them. We've become social friends, at least. So there's a lot of advantage to that. But this isn't about buying local. This is about the fact that as time moves forward, these things are going to become more and more the norm. It's been proven here with the Forsyth. We need an inner rocker panel for that. And on that car, as much as we can, as inexpensively as we can, we're purchasing the parts that we need for it. So we purchased a torsion bar cross member. We purchased a couple of the floor pans. I did fabricate a couple of pieces for the floor in that car. But the one thing that I wanted to buy, because I know it's going to be a pain in the neck to make, is it's the inner rocker panel on the driver's side. That's rotted out completely. I cannot install the torsion bar cross member until I get that done. That's part of the reason this project has been stalled, because it was going to be just a quick slam bam, but making that inner rocker panel is complicated. And I've not taken the time because of this paint job and other things I have going on, like stitches. My daily truck is still broke down. There's just a lot of stuff going on. And I just kind of set that project aside for now. When I get at it, it's going to happen quickly, but that's not where we're at right now. Talk about stuff going on. I got my snowblower torn apart because both the inner tubes were shot. I'm still getting the rototiller winterized, and there's just stuff going on. But that's not why you're here. But my point is this. If you want to continue on building cars like this, you're going to enter into a world, I think, where a lot of the rest of the world is, with cars that aren't as popular, that don't offer the parts for these cars. Now, I know there are still a ton of these cars. I'm pointing at this one, but I don't just mean 70 Challengers. I know there are still a ton of these cars sitting around in junkyards and behind people's barns and out in the woods and out in fields. And for a while, there's going to be as the supply chain is drying up with availability, there's going to be a resurgence of what exactly happened to this car. It was stripped for all of its parts to build another one. I'm just crazy enough to fix it. That's going to be happening more and more. So you're going to start seeing some of the lower quality cars being sacrificed to restore higher quality cars. I get that. But the whole point of this channel is, people say, why would you make that when you can buy it? And my take is, why would I buy it when I can make it? I think that is a skill set that is going to have to come back, both for financial reasons and practical reasons, of making the stuff that we need in order to put these cars back together again. So let's go to the land of let's pretend. We're not going to see the kangarooster, but in the land of let's pretend that this is a 1970 426 Hemi 4-speed Challenger. In this land of let's pretend, there are no aftermarket parts available for this car at all, anywhere on the planet. All the aftermarket parts are gone. Again, I know we're in the land of let's pretend, but there's a point to this. I want to restore this car. I'm going to have to find donor cars. I'm going to have to fabricate things. There's a lot I'm going to do. Now, the first thing I'm going to say is, for the guys that have been around the channel, and gals who've been around the channel for a while, The quality of the work that I'm doing on this car is not top notch. It's not that I can't do better work. The car isn't worth it. This car is not worth carriage building each part, making each seam in the sheet metal completely invisible. I can do that. I am not going to spend the thousands of hours it takes to do that, nor am I right now in this world, not in the land of let's pretend, nor am I going to spend the money that it would take to buy those parts for this car that at best is probably going to be worth 30 or 40 grand when it's done the way I'm doing it. Would it be worth much more than that with all the right sheet metal? Nope, it would not. Back to the land of let's pretend. So, contrary to popular opinion today, there's nothing wrong with hand fabricating parts that are a good representation or almost perfect representation of what the factory looked like. What I'm doing on stitches is a reasonable representation, fully not hiding all the stitches to put it together. But if it was a 426 Hemi 4-speed 1970 Challenger, which is a very rare car, in the land of let's pretend where nothing's available, it may not be a hugely valuable car, but let's still say it's still worth upwards of 7 figures. There is nothing wrong with hand building your parts. Oh, what do you mean? Blah, 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 blah. I'm telling you, there are a lot of exotic sports cars, Ferraris, Porsches, Lamborghinis, down the list. That's the only way they get repaired because there's nothing available. Each part is hand machined. Each part is hand fabricated. Each part is carriage built to almost exacting factory specifications by hand. Now, I don't have the tools and equipment to do that level of work, but my point is, for all the naysayers that say, just buy it, why would you make it? There's a lot of cars you can't buy it for, and there are guys with the skills to actually carriage build perfectly the replacement parts for these cars. I know that there are people who say that will never happen. And I guess I tend to be a little bit more on the opposite side of that and say it's only a matter of time. Will I see it in my lifetime? Probably not. Will my kids see it in their lifetime? I think availability is definitely going to get worse for my kids' generation. For my grandkids' generation, I think it's going to be even worse. We're going to see some of the big players like AMD go out of business, just like AAR Fiberglass did. Where are we going to get these parts then? Who knows if we're going to be able to get them at all? I think it's just as important to showcase the skills on how to make stuff, to hand that down to the future generations, which is what this channel is about. I do have a project. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I don't even own it yet because I haven't found exactly what I'm looking for. Plus, I promised my wife I wasn't buying anything else till I got a few things done. But if I live long enough, I have a project in mind that I want to share with you guys. We're going to hand fabricate it all, and we are going to do it to almost carriage build standards. That's going to take a long time to do, but I've got to get this one done. I've got to finish the 69 Charger. I got to finish the 47 Ford. I want to build the Golden Mullet. We need to get the Duster done. And of course, I need to finish the $500 paint job. I got Sassy back here in the back room I need to get done. I've got a bunch of work I want to do to Scoops. And so it's, it's going to take a while. That may be my retirement project. Remember that the companies that manufacture these parts, yes, they do love doing this stuff and they do love providing these parts and high quality parts and being industry leaders. But at the end of the day, they got to make money at it or they're not going to be in business. Plain and simple. The market is not going to continue to grow. I think it's peaked. Maybe not quite there yet, but again, because of the age of the people that are into this stuff, it's only a matter of time until we go over the top of that hump and it starts going the other way. So I'd like you to think about that. Let's look at how you do your projects. I know most of the guys here are here to see the Captain Caveman crude stuff that I do, to see the alternative ways that I do, and I know I've inspired a bunch of you guys to look at your projects differently. I think that's great. If you were doing a 426 Hemi Challenger the way I'm doing this one, that's probably not the way to do it. You've heard me say that 1,000 times. Context is everything. Context just aren't the text messages you get from relatives in prison. But I think developing skills that we can share with our kids and our grandkids or the neighbor kids or whoever is interested in learning or putting it in video format like this so that people down the road, if the internet still's around, although I do have it all on disc, So it's not like it's going to go away if YouTube goes away. But future generations can watch these things and learn not necessarily how to do it, but different ways it can be done so that they can make informed decisions. So that's my thought. So the question to you is, what do you think about the direction parts availability for cars is going, and what do you think about helping people develop higher levels of skill so that they can make more stuff for themselves without depending upon their credit card? That's going to do it for this one. We'll catch you on the next one. Rah!